Well, welcome. I'm so excited to have you all back for another episode of Grit, Grace, and Glitz. So many of you know we come here to get gritty. We come here to celebrate the grace that we need to give not only ourselves, but everyone else in our life, but also celebrate the glitz, all of the fabulous things that we are doing each and every day in life. And today I am so excited to have an absolutely go-getter type woman in my path with us today on Grit, Grace, and Glitz. Her name is Michelle Peth, and she's not only a successful business owner, but she's a motivational speaker. She really inspires female entrepreneurs to absolutely create their best life possible. She's the host of Beet Goes On podcast, and Beettan has grown to encompass more than 200 women using her natural products to create their own businesses. She's the founder of Beettan Sunless, but she truly is just at the beginning of all of her many aspirations, encouraging for uplifting other women in the industries and walks of life. If you're looking for business coaching, day-to-day encouragement, or the perfect tan, let me tell you, Michelle is your girl. Welcome, Michelle.
Yes, and thank you so much. I don't know who wrote that, but that is a very kind bio. I think it's my girl Mary at Beettan. So the name of the company is Beettan, and the active ingredient is derived from sugar beets. So the Beet Goes On podcast is also spelled like BEET, like the sugar beet, or like the vegetable, the root vegetable. And it was a play on words because Beettan, my company, is my baby. I love it so much, and I help women learn how to own their own spray tan business based off of my success. I have a 6-figure business with multiple locations here in Savannah, and I started from nothing. So once I developed my own product line, I started teaching it. I started teaching how to spray tan. So that's how I got here. So yeah, it's a strange name, but there was no other way to do it because you get tan from beets. So beet tan
But isn't that such a beautiful thing? And I love that it's so natural, and I love that it has such a meaning behind it, but it's so different, and it's something you're not going to forget, right? Like it's not just any sunless tanner. It's something that is like so special that you've created. And that's
I worked with many beauty chemists, but the very first one was, her name is Kathy. Shout out to Kathy. And she just kind of helped me understand the science. I was already spray tanning. I'd been for years and years. I was a little frustrated with certain things of it. Honestly, I just wanted it a lot of, we know those self-tanning companies go so dark. I want to be dark, dark, dark. I just wanted to just have a little color. I didn't want anything crazy. I didn't want bronzers. I just wanted
give me the glow. Give me the glow.
Yeah, just give me the glow. So I just really simplified it and made it easier, which simplified it. I was doing it for myself so I could show up at people's houses, spray, and not make a mess and not have 10 different colors and additives to choose from. I just wanted to be able it to be to work on everyone.
Exactly.
Universal product. I simplified it for myself, and then I found that my customer, that's what they loved and appreciate. So my tribe of women and customers found me, and hence all since then. So I'd like to say, I'm no brand basher. They're all good. There's a lot of great products out there, but I just wanted to simplify it, make it clean, clean ingredients, clean, but also clean. Like you can sleep on white sheets with Beettan.
I love it. Yes. Oh my goodness. That needs to be like your tagline. So let me ask you a question, like how this all came about. Like, what did you originally want to be when you were like a little girl and dreaming of like what life would look like and where you're at now?
So I wanted to be an infomercial queen. I wanted to be on infomercials or commercials. Truth be told, that's I was always performing or singing in the mirror. So I was either doing commercials. Now I cannot sing, so that was never going to happen. But I really wanted to, I don't know. That's what I did as a kid. I was in front of the mirror with products in the house selling them.
Oh my goodness. So this was always kind of like in your quote unquote DNA. It was always
think so. As you get, and the world is crazy because the fear of the world pops in. I think I lost a little bit of that spirit, from things that happen in life. I lost my dad really young. So I think some like trauma played in, and you kind of lose yourself sometimes with trauma. And I just kind of became a workaholic instead. And I knew I was good at sales, so I went to sales. But as a little girl, I wanted to be famous or on commercials.
I love it. I love it. And you know what? I'm so glad you brought up trauma. I know that wasn't necessarily an avenue we were going to go down today. And not that I want to go too far down it, but
I
what I
mean,
want to,
I'm the most vulnerable person you'll ever meet. I think if it can help anyone, I'm here for it.
perfect. Well, I love that because, trauma, for many of my listeners know, I was brutally assaulted last year on June
Oh
16th,
gosh.
almost murdered. And I actually just delivered a TEDx called The Audacity to Be Resilient, right? And
Mhm.
you too, right? Like, and mine sounds bad, but it was really 45 seconds of my life, right? I was beaten
Mhm.
really hard for 45 seconds where you lost your dad. You have to deal with that for the next
Mhm.
you know, X amount of decades, right?
Yes.
So every trauma is different and it looks
Mhm.
different. And so, but I think what you said is like, because of that trauma, you've created this resilience and you've created this
Mhm.
power. And you're like,
And it's
I'm
funny,
doing
this
it
week
for my
that word
dad.
keeps coming up over and over. This morning, I seriously think I know that you floated into my life for a reason, but and through social media, so there is positivity to social media. I will put that out there just because
Yes,
it's been
amen.
happening to me a lot lately. But this morning I wish if I had my phone by me, I'd prove it to you. But I sent my team here at Beettan, I sent them the song called Resilience. I'll send it to you too. This morning. And I'm gonna email
Oh
you.
my God, you have to.
I'm gonna message. I'm gonna seriously when we hang up. I'm gonna snapshot what I sent my team, and I'm gonna send you the song because I was like, this is just like it's a proud thing. It's your projection is perception. It really is like I really at one point in my life like looked at resilience like I can handle anything. So I was always in like survival mode. And just recently in the last year, have I taken myself out of survival. And another one of the things I do in the mornings, I say, let me be like water. I want to flow a little more. I don't want to always be
Mm,
like armor on. I want to flow a little more. And so
right.
I've learned how to take trauma and bad things that have happened to me all these years and be resilient, but also like own that resilience instead of being ashamed of it.
Yeah.
Because
And
with
how do you do that every day though? Like, how do you show up when it does hurt or when it does feel painful?
I think I have a morning alignment and this, we talked about what we were talking about in here, so I'll just go through it. I have a morning alignment that I do, and I have tons of very special women in my life that I know that God, universe has brought me. I know that I know because whether it be through a podcast, social media, or in my community, or through my company, or a friend of a friend, I have some really amazing freaking women in my life. And what
Amen.
Yes, I absolutely do. And um I do a morning alignment. So I wake up and I journal, I meditate, I pray, I breathe. I was never really good at breathing before I realized. So
Isn't
breath
it
work is
crazy? Do you know how many of us, especially
mhm,
high functioning females,
high energy. Yeah.
hold all of our like, and I'm showing this, and no one's going to see this, but we really show all of our breath in like the
Mhm.
first third of like our diaphragm, right? Like
Yeah. And
we're
you could
not
feel
even
it.
allowing it to
Mhm.
go all the way
Even
down.
talking about it, like I can remember it, like the muscle memory of like the
Yeah,
reaction of doing that. So that is how I do that. And I am human. So there are days that are bad. In fact, the day you messaged me about coming on the podcast, I was having a day.
yeah,
And I take, whether it's getting out in nature, putting on my headphones, putting on some music, which I'll send you that playlist. I just kind of, I change, you can change the thought, you can change the emotion. We are the only people in control of ourselves. If you're trying to find it, which I was trying to find things outward, which really I needed to just take a breather and realign my mind and my mindset. And that is how I hope I answered your question right. Like that is how I kind of get back on track and really, back on who and what I'm truly here for.
Well, it really goes back to how you practice your self-care and self-love. And basically what you're saying is, listen, I need to give myself that oxygen first, all the way down, right? I can't give myself a third of that oxygen. It needs to be fully within me, whether that's your breath work or your meditation or just a timeout, you walking away from like, hey, listen,
sometimes it's on the toilet. It's not always like a glorified like pillow by a tree. It's legit sometimes like, I'll be back. I'm going to go sit on the toilet.
But
I'm just being honest.
No, and we're so gritty here. We're so honest on Grit, Grace, and Glitz. And that's how we like, honestly, like it doesn't have to be, I think people feel like they have to have the perfect Zen room with the waterfall and the candles
like
lit.
That's just for pictures on social media.
Right?
Like that's just, it's sometimes I just pull my car over. I mean, I don't, sometimes it's in the morning. I had some terrible, sometimes I'll have some like drama dreams or trauma dreams. I just made that up.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
And I'll wake up with anxiety from a narrative in my dream from my past. It's like, so this has happened. I've been doing a lot of self-help. And I think as you work on yourself, sometimes your subconscious is like vomiting old stuff. So you just have to push through. And it can be very distracting and discouraging.
Yeah.
So sometimes that moment is just in the morning. I have a playlist. I just get back I have a playlist that I listen to and I don't get out of bed and I just lay there and breathe and just talk myself back into truth.
Yes, really. Yes. But it's okay to be in that moment. Like, and I think that's the best part of self-care and self-advice you're giving everyone that's listening is like, be in that moment, but have a mechanism to have the lifeboat to get out of it, right? We're not telling you don't be sad.
And you can rule the world, dude. You can have, there's no, it is so freeing when I'm like, I was in the worst mood this morning and it felt it. And now I get excited about that, knowing that I have that ability, that power. Power is a strong word, but it really is an inner power that we have. We all have it.
You've built your life preserver. My life preserver is going to look different than someone else's, and that's okay. I love that. You've built what really works for you, right? Exactly. Doesn't mean it's always going to be blown up perfectly or in the exact position, but you always find a way to find it to bring yourself back afloat, right?
And I like what you said about being present. That I struggled with being present a lot in my life. I was always like, what's next? What's next? What's next? And only in the last year have I really practiced being more present. And people thought I was successful before, but I didn't stop and smell the roses, as they say. Like I didn't really stop to enjoy the journey or any of it. And that's a dangerous place to be. That's why there are people that make millions and millions and millions. And you know, they seem very stressed out. You know, you got to stop and enjoy the journey.
100%, 100%. And it's hard in this go society with social media and, you know, the Joneses are ahead of the Smiths and the blah, blah, blah. And like,
dude, if I'm comparing myself to everyone, I'm always behind.
Always. You're always, and I was just going to say that, right? So, you know, I think people that's probably an area where people misunderstand you. They look at you, they're like, she's beautiful. She has everything together. Everything.
Dude, I was like, crying last week.
Right? So
you just have to get recentered.
Right? But would that be something like if, you know, if I'd ask you like, hey, what do people not know about you? What do they misunderstand about you? What would that be?
Well, actually just playing off of that, I think people misunderstand me for being like money and success driven, which what I really am is love driven. I love makes me happier than anything. And I am a girl's girl. I'm a woman's woman. it was just funny because I have a son. I'm a single mom of a son and I love him dearly too. But I think I know that because people know me as like the hustler, the whatever, especially here in Savannah, and she's successful and she's blah, blah, blah. But really it's love. Like when I get a kind word or a hug or a look in the eyes or something special that my product's done for someone in a more emotional way than a vanity way, I am very love driven. And I think because I was going for so long, when I did stop and smell the roses and really like listen to myself, love is really my passion. It's connecting with people. I just really thrive off of that. So
everything brings us back to love, right? Because if we don't have self-love, we can't give it out to everyone else. And I think what you're saying, it's so funny. I actually just did a group, like it was like a group session this week, and we went back through our love language. and mine is active
Oh, I love
service
that.
and, active like affirmation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love like, yeah, there's, human touch and there's gifts, but like that's less important to me. Really feeling like
Mm-hmm.
I have created value to someone else and someone just verbally says that. I always say that to my husband. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
listen, I was like, you don't need to buy the roses or the this. I was like, it's
Mm-hmm.
just tell me like if you really feel that way, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Don't tell me lies.
Don't bullshit me because I'll read right through it.
Exactly.
Right. So tell me the truth. But I think it's so important. And I think we have to
Authentic love and whether it's love words, love actions is priceless.
priceless.
And I think at one point in my life, I thought that people that were successful money wise were better than me or whatever. And that's not, I don't know. I've just really, I don't know if it was like turning 40 or now parenting. I had my son at 18, so I had him really young. And I think teaching adulting is hard. So I think I am now like really engulfed in like making sure he knows things that I'm finding out now. And I'm very like I'll drive him crazy. I send him audio messages all the time. Like anytime I read something, a book, I like send it to him. But after years of doing that, the kid is listening.
Of course
And
they are. And they're watching everything you're doing.
even though he's like, gosh, mom sent me another like self-help quote. I don't know. But I sent him stuff. It's funny, but I really like watching people thrive and grow and I love loving them through it. I have a girlfriend who opened up a salon kicking and screaming. Like I said, if you don't, I also have my real estate license here. So I like guided her through like the real estate side of it. And she opened up her own salon and she was freaking terrified. And now she's like coming on the other side of it 2 years later and it's been stressful. And there are nights I was like, I just sat there and let her cry with wine because I know how scary it can be. But she pushed through and she did it. And I'm so proud of her. And that there is no better feeling than it's like helping someone climb a mountain. There's just that is better than money. That is better than money for me, which is why like this business is so important for me because I started from nothing and I help women start their own business. So we help with like the business coaching. I stay in my lane. Like I help my friend with the salon, but like I stay in my lane. Like I know how to make a spray tan business successful. I can help you do that if it's something you're interested in and you're a part of a tribe and a family for life. And we have great products too. Like it's all
right. It's all full circle, right?
Right. And I have a lot of experience with the products, but the passion behind the love I have for women, especially like a woman who needs something that's her own, which was me, something to give her confidence, something that, maybe she stays at home, maybe she hates her job, maybe she just loves making people feel good. Like the list goes on of why the 200 partners have signed up. I don't take a percentage from them. I do the training and that's that. And they go on their way because in my early 20s, I did a franchise and I just, with this particular business, I do not think the franchise model works for the structure I want.
Right.
And the outcome I want with the women. Now, have I had many investors knock on my door and try to talk me into it? Yes. But I'd have nothing against franchising. And, in fact, who knows what the future holds for me with other business ventures. I'm not against a franchise. I just think with this structure and the passion and the goals that I have for it, it's not in alignment with Beettan. I don't care that the partner may only bring in $100 a month. I don't care if it makes her happy to have her own business and have her own Instagram and her own website and her own, like this makes her feel good. She's busting her ass as a mom. She's coming home from that job and she loves her 10 customers a week that come in and feeling bad and leave out or whatever, feeling better than when they, like, there is just something special about that energy that I will pass along. Now, some of them are thriving and open up their own storefronts, and some of them are hairstylists and added it on as an extra income. Like the franchise model doesn't work. I've had many investors knock on my door. They know better than me. Like what, blah, 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 blah. I had to go with my heart.
Yes.
So and it's a very long way to answer your question.
No, but it comes full circle. And I love the example that you give back to love and back to what your motive is, and with that being said, I think it says so much about you, right? At the end of the day, like, I think we say like, oh yeah, we all want the shiny object and we want the bigger car and the nicer house and the more money in the bank, blah, 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 like you said.
Yeah.
What's that legacy we really want, right? And so I think
And
that's
when I
just,
changed my life and started living that way, I saw the person I saw it in the most, even though my business is very much female, everything is female, the person I saw it the most in was my son. And when I did that fundraising event that we were talking about before we started the podcast, just so everyone knows, I did a fundraiser for the Alzheimer's event. I had a dance in front of 1,000 people. I raised $54,000. It was the scariest thing ever. My son was a part of like getting the crowd motivated to hype up for the dance because I had 10 other contestants. The kid cried after his mom's performance, and it was just, we've come so far, and it wasn't, the business is booming, we've made money, like we've had really high moments where the money was there, but to see my kid cry at a fundraising event that was fun, and it was because I know it was because despite all the success, it was important for me to give back, do something to give back in the community. And my kid felt it. And that is
and
the
you
best
cannot put a
example.
price tag on that.
Mm-mm. No, and I was like, why are you crying?
Right.
And then when I came out, I had friends, I had 180 people show up for me to cheer me on at the event. They all had like things that they were waving, like these disco lights. It was incredible. It was and I know that's why my kid cried, because it wasn't about how much money my company made. It was about the time and energy I put into a fundraiser, and then people who may have not necessarily been affected by Alzheimer's, they showed up because it's just an energy of love, and it's so special to feel. And it's rarely anyone has that many people in a room unless you're like at a wedding or whatever.
Right, of course, of course.
So I know that's why my kid was crying, because he was
exactly.
like, my mom is so loved, and I'm boastfully bragging, but also humbly bragging. I felt very loved and supported that night.
Oh, I love that. I
Mhm.
love that. And then what a beautiful story. Like,
Mhm.
just to share in so many facets of your life, as a mom, as a business owner, as
Mhm.
someone that wants to give back to society, as someone that believes in Alzheimer's, which has touched my family,
Mhm.
you
Well,
know,
it's growing. That's one of the reasons.
grandparents, right? Like, so it's a big issue. And the
You would
fact,
think I'd do like skin cancer research or something, but several of the partners, like one of our partners that actually came to the event, she came all the way from Idaho. We actually flew her in for it. Her dad currently is in a facility.
oh,
My right-hand woman, Mary, who I've already talked about, I love her. Her grandmother died in December. So when I was asked to do it, it just made so much sense, because so many people currently in my life were being affected by it. And skin cancer research is always something that we give to, and melanoma, and we work with a lot of dermatologists and even plastic surgeons, because plastic surgeons cut a lot of skin cancer off. So, but everyone was like, why did you go that route? Not everyone, but I had some people ask, and
of
I was
course.
like, well, sometimes life just throws other cool things at you that you need to give back to. It doesn't have to always make sense, but
Exactly.
there's a
But it
need
did
out
make
there.
sense. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I could literally like talk to you for the next 7 hours, and I love this. And I love,
Mhm.
and we're going to put all of your information in the show notes so people
Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
find you. If you're a spray tanner and you want to you want to learn from Michelle, you want to be coached by Michelle, like you just
We
want to
would love
meet,
to have
you
you.
want to just
Yeah.
meet Michelle. You live in Savannah and you're like, hey, listen, I want a really awesome,
Come back.
amazing, fabulous female to like learn from and just grow from, or go have a
Mhm.
glass of wine with. I mean, she is your girl.
I am.
And I can't wait to go and visit there, because
You have to.
I think we could create a lot of trouble. But
I'd
with
love
that being
that.
said, is there anything that you want to leave the listeners of Grit, Grace, and Glitz with today?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on, and thank you for listening to me. I love getting a voice out there to women. And if there's anything I said that touched you, please reach out to me. But I think somebody told me to read the Steve Harvey book Jump on a whim a while back, and I don't know, I needed to be told to jump at some point and start and jump in my life, and I always go back to that, and I notice it in other people when they're stalling. They're giving an excuse to wait. I say just do it.
Just do it.
Just
I
do
love
it.
it. Jump, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to
No.
be glamorous. Like, you're allowed to fall. The jump may not be the
Mhm.
right jump. You might have to jump 7 more times, but know that,
Exactly. Because failure is learning. It's not failure. Learning.
amen.
You don't learn without failure. You
Fail
just
for,
don't.
fail
Mhm.
forward, right? Like, it
Exactly.
takes you one step further, sometimes 7
Exactly.
steps further. So with that being said,
True.
I am so glad you joined us today, Michelle,
Thank you
on
so
Grit,
much.
Grace, and Glitz. Guys, please send this to someone else. Please reach out to Michelle. Let's go out into the world and share
Mhm.
all of our gritty stories, all of the grace that we have in our life and that we need to give ourselves
Mhm.
more of. And by far, let's sprinkle that glitz like glitter everywhere we go.
I
and
love
celebrate
that.
all of the things that we're doing each and every day. So with that being said, I'm going to sign off here from Grit, Grace, and Glitz. Michelle, thank you so much for joining us
Thank you.
today.
Thank you.